My name is Reneé Dominique. I am a singer, songwriter, a content creator, and a TV host. And I just, a little bit about me. I grew up under a musical family. My mom and my dad are both in the music industry. My mom is a musical teacher. My dad is a performer. And I grew up in the studio because they were also voice talents. So growing up, I would always watch my parents as they did recordings for different TV and radio commercials. So at a very, very young age, I was exposed to music. And also at a very young age, I knew that that was something that I always wanted to do. So as I continued to grow older, I was a toddler, or not really a toddler, I was maybe like around 7 years old. Who here would always borrow your parents' phone to take videos before? Is there anyone here? Or maybe you guys are a lot younger, so maybe you had your own phones already. But back then when I was younger, I didn't have my own phone. So I would always borrow my dad's phone. I was vlogging when vlogging wasn't even a thing. And I just was always immersed in that space. And as I grew up, eventually, I have actually 3 disconnection notices that I wanted to share with you guys in the span of my life so far. So my first disconnection notice actually was language. It's so interesting to me because here you guys are trilingual. You can speak Chinese, you can speak Tagalog, and you can speak English. But growing up, English was my first language. So I didn't really know how to speak Tagalog. We would go to fast food restaurants, and those playhouses in those fast food restaurants. I would play there, and I would try to make friends, and I would be like, "Hi, can we play?" and do that kind of stuff. And no one would they would look at me and be like, "Oh," and they would not talk to me because I didn't know how to speak Tagalog. That was like the first disconnection notice that I've ever had in my entire life as a 3-year-old. It's very heartbreaking. People wouldn't want to talk to me. They think I talked weird or I talked a certain way that they didn't like. So I learned Tagalog later on. But even though I learned Tagalog, there was still some sort of disconnection between me and people because I really didn't understand much. I knew the language, but there was just this barrier. There was this wall between us. And at a very young age, I felt that. And because of that, I started to just enjoy the company of my own presence a lot more. I loved being alone. Every time that I was out with my family, I would always just sit in a corner and play with my dolls or do whatever. And I liked it. But then I realized that was actually a moment of disconnection for me. So that was my first disconnection notice in my life, is language. Second is my school life. So I actually transferred a lot, during grade school to high school because we would transfer to different cities. And I was always a new kid, So I was disconnected from students who already made their barkadas. When you're together for a young age, I'm sure a lot of people in the school, you study here since you were in grade school all the way to high school, right? So every time that I was a new kid, there was a disconnection between me and friends who've been together their entire lives. I always had to find, certain friends and really go through that up and down between, does this person like me? Does he not like me? I don't know. So I was bullied a lot. Actually, even physically by guys. But by the way, ladies, if there are guys here who are bullying you, let me just tell you, they secretly like you, okay? So just keep that in mind. It was hard for me because there was already a disconnection between me and these people. And then on top of that was the bullying. And we all know that bullying is it's never okay, right? Yeah, so I excelled a lot more in extracurricular activities. I did sports, I did basketball, I did wall climbing, I did a little bit of soccer. And I was also a dance club president. I was in the Glee Club. So that's where I was really focusing most of my energy into because that's what I knew that I was, that field was where I knew I was good at. But eventually, I had to make a really big decision because there was a bullying incident that was really big that made me decide to take a step back and transfer to a different school because it affected my mental health. So I decided to drop out of the school and go back to being in homeschool, which leads me to my third disconnection notice. I was disconnected from my friends, from having a social life, because being in homeschool, you're basically on your own most of the time, which could be a great thing for a lot of us introverts, but you also need your social life to be kind of a normal person, right? So I was in homeschool, but I actually had more time to focus on the things that I actually wanted to do, which was one of the benefits of being in homeschool. And then I started my YouTube channel. This was around 2013. And I've been on YouTube as a singer for almost 10 years now. So that's how I started my YouTube, because I went back to being in homeschool, I was bullied, and I just wanted a platform where I could just be myself shamelessly after everything that I've been through, after my self-esteem was crushed. I just wanted a place where I could kind of start over again and I guess rebuild myself and my self-esteem, basically. So I started my YouTube channel, and eventually, after the first few videos of me just sitting in my room with my ukulele, singing songs, and a lot of people actually gave really good feedback, which then made me realize that, this is something that could actually be a career for me, I think, because, there's, 1,000 views. Wow. This is my future. 1,000 views, like, get ready for me, world. So the 1,000 views was a lot already for me back then. But basically, my career in YouTube was gradually progressing. I was gaining more opportunities slowly, and eventually I got the chance to actually sign under Star Magic, under ABS-CBN, and it was great. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this is going to be the start of my career. I was so hopeful, like I'm going to be on TV, I'm going to do all of this amazing things. But as I continued to do auditions, which leads me to my third disconnection notice, a lot of people in the industry told me that I wasn't marketable for the Philippines. They told me that my music wasn't something that a lot of people liked during that time. And they told me, maybe you'd be better off maybe in the States or maybe somewhere else, but on our end, there's really not much that we can do for you here. So, that crushed me a lot. That was a disconnect from what I thought I was going into, with my path. So I was devastated. And then I saw some of my friends, especially in social media. That time when I started YouTube, there was no word influencer yet. It was really different. But as I continued to journey, a lot of my friends also started creating their own channels. They started going on social media. Social media was like going up there and becoming more and more famous as a platform for people, to start their careers. And I saw them, they were successful instantly. They were going viral, they were doing all of these things. And then I started to wonder, what is it that they have that I don't? Therefore, I was disconnected to my own identity. So what did I do? Where did I go? So these are actually 3 points that are in theme with today's TED Talk. So I just wanted to emphasize on the word reroute. What did I do to reroute? So I found my purpose and passion in music again, once I decided to go back to being in homeschool, right? Because it gave me the opportunity to really recenter myself and really find out what I actually want to do instead of what I feel like I should do or what society feels like I should do, because there's a lot of pressures like that. It wasn't what I expected at all. It was literally a reroute. But then it was where actually I was supposed to be. It was the path that I was supposed to take when I decided to reroute and go back to being in homeschool so I could pursue this career. Second is to rewire. How did I rewire? As I continued to go on with my journey, which started as just creating videos on YouTube, seeing how viewers and listeners really responded to my videos from around the world, and they would leave comments on my videos talking about how my music has impacted their life, how it made them feel things, how it helped them through a breakup or through a loss or through whatever. It made me realize that it's probably a lot more for me than to just sing in front of a camera. There's actually a bigger purpose for me than to just sing, than just music. And this bigger purpose is something that I may not entirely understand, but as I continue to go on, The thing is, we don't have to always fully understand certain things, but God has handpicked us one by one to walk a certain way and create an impact in people's lives, whether it may be big or small. So that's how I rewired. Third is to reconnect. Life has a way of swaying us to different directions. We'll find ourselves more often than not doing things we actually don't want to do. We get peer pressured to live and be according to the standards of others, or we get clouded by what we consume on social media, that we think maybe it would be better, or I would be more successful, or I would be prettier, or I would just be better if I acted this way, or if I looked this way, or if I dressed this way. We lose sight of our own identity, which is why we should always go back to the why. Why do we do what we do? And this is something that was just taught to me recently. What is your why? And it's such a complicated question to answer because most of the time we don't know what we're doing. I'm still young, okay, I'm 23 years old, and I'm sure a lot of you here are high schoolers. It's okay to not have an answer yet to what your why is, but we should always go back to, why do we do what we do? Why do we pursue this? Why are we studying? Why do we want to take this course? Why do we want this dream job? Why do we want to be the kind of person that we want to be? Because that reconnects us to our identity. And that is the most important thing that we should never, ever lose. So here are just a few of my learnings that I wanted to share with you so far in my journey. One thing I want you guys to take away is that you are uniquely created. Each one of us is created uniquely in the image of God, and our uniqueness, our quirkiness, our weirdness is what sets us apart. For we are all created intricately and differently, with different passions and purposes. And as you embrace that, you will continue to embrace more of your identity. And as you continue to embrace your identity and be comfortable and confident in it, you will find your tribe. You will find people who will actually also share that same passions as you and who will also appreciate you for it. And that's what happened with me. I did not let those rejections in the industry or the bullying kind of define my identity as a person, because you should know where you base your identity. And it's important to base it in the source, which for me is God, right? Next, this is very cliche, but never give up. Keep on walking the road and embrace the challenges, embrace the hurdles, the ups and downs, because I think the most important thing, especially a lot of you sometimes you get very impatient when it comes to your journey. Why am I not here yet? Why am I not acing my exams yet? Why am I not graduating yet? The longer your journey is, the more your character is being molded, the more it's being built. And character is also one of the most important things, and that can only be molded through time. So embrace the journey. Next, disconnection is needed to find connection. Sail through life, no matter how slow it may seem. And life always has a way of turning out to be better. But embrace the losses. And this is my favorite word, embrace, because this is something, as someone with anxiety and who overthinks a lot, this is something that I struggle with. It's just to embrace what's happening. But embrace the struggle, embrace the pain, embrace the loss. Because the disconnection is what will eventually reconnect you again. And just be patient with that. So, I actually wrote a song about this whole thing. Back in 2017, when I was in New York, I was trying to pursue a career there, and I had the opportunity to work with amazing, amazing, talented musicians in Brooklyn. And we wrote this song, actually, called Figure It Out. And it talks all about everything that I just mentioned here on stage. So this song is called Figure It Out, and I hope you guys like it.
Woke up today, feeling like nothing's going my way, feeling like I want some change. My day's on repeat, wanna break me free. away from here. But I looked outside and the sun was brighter. Down below the grass is greener. Thought for a while and I asked myself, where do I go? I don't know, but I'll figure it out, figure it out. What do I feel? I can't explain it, but I'll figure it out, figure it out. Walked out down the street, I could feel the heat. Fresh air, now I can breathe. All the faces surrounding me, everybody's trying to find their pace. Try to make it from here. Standing outside and the sun was brighter. Below my feet, the grass is greener. I thought for a while and I asked myself, where do I go? I don't know, but I'll figure it out, figure it out. What do I feel? I can't explain it, but I'll figure it out, figure it out. I'll get there, just don't know where, not yet. I'll take a step and try it out. We'll figure it out. Hey, 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 hey. Figure it out. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'll figure it out, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Thank you.